Well, welcome back, everybody, and let's see what we have on tap for today. It's another one of our great reaction videos. This time, it's one of our favorite senators, Josh Hawley, as he's questioning Mark Zuckerberg. And the question basically is why social media companies like Facebook are they colluding with the United States government to get around the First Amendment and stifle the voices of Americans. So we're going to get into all of that, but before we do so, we just wanted to hope that you've subscribed to our channel. You've been watching, or you are watching, the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your guest host for today. My name is Dr. Shaikh. And if you haven't already done so, as I said, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like and share this video. Let's get into this video right now, folks. Our reaction to Josh Hawley questioning Mark Zuckerberg.
19th century, the heads of the biggest corporations in America, the robber barons, got together and they set rates, they set prices, they determined how they would control information flow, they determined how they get rid of competition. And I'll be darned if we aren't right back there again. Except for this time, you're the robber barons. Your companies are the most powerful companies in the world, and I want to talk about how you're coordinating together to control information. In recent days, my office was contacted by a Facebook whistleblower, a former employee of the company with direct knowledge of the company's content moderation practices, and I want to start by talking about an internal platform called Tasks that Facebook uses to coordinate projects, including censorship. The Tasks platform allows Facebook employees to communicate about projects they're working on together.
Did any of you know about this, the Tasks platform and all the other programming devices and applications that Facebook and Twitter previously and other social media giants are using to basically censor the voices of American citizens as they come on the platforms? Amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. Evil, but amazing.
That includes Facebook's censorship teams, including the so-called community well-being team, the integrity team, and the hate speech engineering team, who all use the Task platform to discuss which individuals or hashtags or websites to ban. Now, Mr. Zuckerberg, you're familiar with the Task platform, aren't you?
Senator, we use the task system for...
Now, first of all, before we get into all this, tell me this doesn't look like some artificial intelligence that's a mask that's been put on a robotic face. Or tell me that this doesn't look like a robot figure right here. I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable. If I didn't know that Mark Zuckerberg was actually appearing, I mean, who knows? Maybe it was an artificial intelligent copy clone of Mark Zuckerberg, because he wasn't in the actual building there. He was at another location, and I think they were doing this through Zoom or whatever. But just take a look at this, folks. Look at the outline of the face. Does it look like it's been pasted on there? That someone just copied and pasted a face onto this? Unbelievable. It's really, really creepy.
I think it's, as you say, for people coordinating all kinds of work across the company, although I'm not sure if I'd agree with the characterization specifically around content moderation that you gave.
Well, let's get into that. And let me see if we can refresh your memory and provide folks at home watching with an example. Here over my shoulder is an example, is a screenshot of the Task platform in use. You'll notice if the cameras zoom in, several references to election integrity throughout on these lists of tasks. Again, this is shared across Facebook's sites, company locations, by working groups. What particularly intrigued me is that the platform reflects censorship input from Google and Twitter as well. So Facebook, as I understand it, Facebook censorship teams communicate with their counterparts at Twitter and Google and then enter those companies' suggestions for censorship onto the Task platform so that Facebook can then follow up with them and effectively coordinate their censorship efforts. Mr. Zuckerberg, let me just ask you directly, under oath now, does Facebook coordinate its content moderation policies or efforts in any way with Google or Twitter?
Senator, let me be clear about this. We do coordinate.
Whenever they say, let me be clear about this, or let me begin with, or Senator, thank you for the question, you know what's coming up, folks. Verbal diarrhea of the mouth, obfuscation, lies, skirting around the truth. You know it's coming. You know it's going to come right out of here. Right out of here. It's going to spill right out. Let's see what's spilling out. Verbal diarrhea from Mark Zuckerberg.
On and share signals on security related topics. So for example, if there is signal around a terrorist attack or around child exploitation imagery or around a foreign government creating an influence operation, that is an area where the companies do share signals about what they see. But I think it's important to be very clear that that is distinct from the content moderation policies that we or the other companies have, where once we share intelligence or signals between the companies, each company makes its own assessment of the right way to address and deal with that information.
Well, I'm talking about content moderation. I'm talking about individuals, websites, hashtags, phrases to ban. Is it your testimony that you do not communicate with Twitter or Google about content moderation, about individuals, websites, phrases, hashtags to ban? Just yes or no. Do you communicate with Twitter or Google about coordinating your policies in this way?
Senator, we do not coordinate our policies.
Do your Facebook content moderation teams communicate with their counterparts at Twitter or Google?
Senator, I'm not aware of anything specific, but I think it would be probably pretty normal for people to talk to their peers and colleagues in the industry.
It would be normal, but you don't do it?
No, I'm saying that I'm not aware of any particular conversation, but I would expect that some level of communication probably happens. But that's different from coordinating what our policies are or our responses in specific instances.
Well, fortunately, I understand that the task platform is searchable. So will you provide a list of every mention of Google or Twitter from the tasks platform to this committee?
Senator, that's something that I can follow up with you and your team after on.
Well, yes or no, I'm sure you can follow up with the list, but why don't you commit while I've got you here under oath? It's so much better to do this under oath. Will you commit now to providing a list from the tasks platform of every mention of Google or Twitter?
Senator, respectfully, I'm without having looked into this, I'm not aware of any sensitivity that might exist around that. So I don't think it would be wise for me to commit to that right now. So I would have to follow.
How many items on the task platform reflect that Facebook, Twitter, and Google are sharing information about websites or hashtags or platforms that they want to suppress?
Senator, I do not know.
Will you provide a list of every website and hashtag that Facebook content moderation teams have discussed banning on the task platform?
Senator, again, I would be happy to follow up with you or your team to discuss further how we might move forward on that. But without,
will you commit to it here? Senator Cruz and Senator Lee both asked you for lists of individuals, websites, entities that have been subject to content moderation. You expressed doubt about whether any such information exists, but you've also now said that the task website, you've acknowledged the task platform exists, that it is searchable. So will you commit to providing the information you have logged on the task website about content moderation that your company has undertaken? Yes or no?
Senator, I think it would be better to follow up once I've had a chance to discuss with my team what any sensitivity around that would be that might prevent the kind of sharing that you're talking about. But once I've done that, I would be happy to follow up.
All right, so you won't commit to do it here. We could, of course, subpoena this information, but I'd much rather get it from you voluntarily. But I think let everybody take note that Mr. Zuckerberg has now repeatedly refused to provide information that he knows that he has and has now acknowledged that he has, that tasks has under oath. Let me switch to a different topic. Mr. Zuckerberg, tell me about Sintra. What is the Facebook internal tool called Sintra?
Senator, I'm not aware of any tool with that name.
Well, let me see if this refreshes your memory. There's a demonstrative now over my shoulder. Sintra is a tool that Facebook uses to track its users, not just on Facebook, but across the entire internet. Centra tracks different profiles that a user visits, their message recipients, their linked accounts, the pages they visit around the web that have Facebook buttons. Centra also uses behavioral data to monitor users' accounts, even if those accounts are registered under a different name. And you can see a shot here, a screenshot provided to us of the Centra platform. We blocked out the user's name in the interest of privacy, although you can see this individual's birth date and age, when they first started using Facebook, their last login, as well as all manner of trackings. How many different devices have they used to access Facebook? How many different accounts are associated with their name? What accounts have they visited? What photos have they tagged? And on and on and on. Mr. Zuckerberg, how many accounts in the United States have been subject to review and shut down through Centra?
Senator, I do not know because I'm not actually familiar with the name of that tool. I'm sure that we have tools that help us with our platform and community. And
Liar, liar, liar. Your pants are on intercoursing fire. Doesn't know. Who the hell does he think we are? A bunch of boobs, a bunch of idiots, a bunch of morons? Senator, I don't even know what Centra means. I have no idea. I'm just the CEO of the company, but I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Right, Mark. Hey, unbelievable, isn't it?
Integrity work, but I am not familiar with that name.
Do you have a tool that does exactly what I've described and that you can see here over my shoulder? Or are you saying that that doesn't exist?
Senator, I'm saying that I'm not familiar with it, and that I'd be happy to follow up and get you and your team the information that you would like on this. But I'm limited in what I can, what I'm familiar with and can share today.
It's always amazing to me, Mr. Chairman, how many people before this committee suddenly develop amnesia. Maybe it is something about the air in the room. Let me ask you this. When a Facebook employee accesses a user's private information, like their private messages or their personally identifiable data, is a record made of that, Mr. Zuckerberg?
Sorry, Senator, could you repeat that?
Is a record made of any time a Facebook employee accesses a user's private information, personally identifiable information, for example, messages? Is a record made anytime a Facebook employee does that?
Senator, I believe so.
Does it trigger an audit?
Senator, I think sometimes it may.
How many audits have been conducted?
Senator, I do not know the exact number of audits.
Can you give me a list?
Senator, we can follow up on that to see what would be useful here.
Will you, I'm almost finished, Mr. Chairman. Will you commit to giving us a list of the number of times Facebook employees have accessed users' personal account information without their knowledge? Yes or no?
Senator, we should follow up on what would be useful here. It is, of course, in the operations of the company.
You know, I'm beginning to think more and more that this really isn't Mark Zuckerberg. I think it's just a robot figure of Mark Zuckerberg, because everything he said, it just looks like somebody's in the background pressing the button. Senator, I think we should follow up with this, with yours and my team, because that way we can sort of get you the information that you need. And Senator, we should follow up again with yours and my teams at a later date to be discussed, time and place. It's on a loop. I mean, it's on a freaking loop, folks. I mean, it's just unbelievably robotic. I mean, I know it's not really a robot, but come on. I mean, nothing would, nothing surprises us anymore.
Company, if someone reports something, sometimes necessary for people at the company to go review and understand the context around what is happening when someone reports something. So this is fairly frequent and is a matter of course. We do.
And I just have to say something too. Am I just seeing things here as well or whatever? Or if you take a look at this, does that look like kind of pointed ears? Is it possible that Mark Zuckerberg could be Vulcan? Because he's only talking logically. There's no emotion. here, right? Or maybe he's a Klingon.
Have security systems that can detect anomalous patterns to flag. But we should follow up in more detail on what you're interested in.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just say in closing that what we have here is clear evidence of coordination between Twitter, Google, and Facebook. Mr. Zuckerberg knows he has the tools to track this, but he either doesn't remember or won't commit to letting us see it. We have evidence of Facebook tracking its own users all across the web. Mr. Zuckerberg won't answer questions about it, can't remember the name, isn't sure if the tool is deployed in this way, and won't commit to giving us basic information. I submit to you that this is both totally unacceptable and totally predictable, because it is exactly what these tech companies have done to the American people and to Congress for years now, which is why it is time we took action against these modern day robber barons.
And there you have it. What else can you say, folks? Josh Hawley laid it out plain and simply, presented the facts, showed the slides, talked about the task the task system, talked about the center system, and all he got from Mark the robot Zuckerberg was basically a bunch of love to follow up with you. We'll try to follow up with you. We'll get our teams together. We'll do this. We'll see if it's even worth our while. We'll see if it's even, possible. First, we're going to see whether or not it incriminates us before we even show you anything. And if it does incriminate us, we're just going to hide it from you anyways. That's basically the gist of what this was about. Anyways, we hope you enjoyed watching this video. Josh Hawley is just an absolute dynamo when it comes to this in terms of interrogating these witnesses. I just wish that they had, unfortunately, yes, they have subpoena power. Yes, they've got some, power to do certain things, but still it takes way too long to get information from these companies and these entities and private individuals. There's so much stonewalling that's done between these high corporate lawyers and high paid, private lawyers as well for people that are out there. And it just takes so much time and so much effort to get, things, moving in the right direction, to get to the bottom of some of these egregious crimes or, that are being committed or perpetrated against the American people or whatever, and government colluding with private companies to skirt the First Amendment laws as well. Anyways, we hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if it's the first time here, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. Hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. And as I've said before, we are the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show, and I happen to be the guest host for today. My name is Dr. Shaikh. I'll leave you with my final thought, as I always do, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Maybe I'm being a robot here too, folks. Who knows? There's only one way of knowing, You got to go, ow, that hurt. See, that's how you can tell. See you next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.